Ready to go? Yep. Okay, thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the City of Toronto Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee by using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by City staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Nadini Sankar, Giuseppe Bartolo, and Nazila Adarati. Also present are City staff Daniel Antonacci, Adam Wills, Brendan Clapp, and Kelly Reed. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute level. When addressing the committee, please state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee of the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the applicant are informed of the agent, of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or opposed to the application, are allowed to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speaker. This will mark the end of all discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. I understand that we have minutes to adopt from the hearing of the March 5th, 2020. If I could get a motion from one of the members to adopt those minutes, please.
I'll put forward a motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Have someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Bartolo, thank you very much. All those in favor? That motion carries. Those minutes are adopted. Are there any committee members here this morning who have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare? No? Thank you very much. And we have no files to close. So we will now proceed to the first item on our agenda, which is item number 183 Glenvale Boulevard, and we have the applicant and one other person registered to speak, Mr. Kettle. So is the agent there, Mr. Ibrahim?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Ibrahim, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Can I see the screen, the members, please? I'm just going to ask the members, would it like a presentation or does it have any questions of the applicant? There is one person registered to depute on the item. Would you like a presentation?
Mr. Chair, yes, a short presentation would be good.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Mr. Ibrahim, if you could give us a very brief presentation on what you see are the merits of your application.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Khalid Ibrahim. I am the agent of 83 Glenvale Boulevard. We are proposing a new two-story house. Our application is to get a relief of 8 variances. I would like to mention that we reduced the number of the variances as a result of the planning department request based on our previous.
Sir, is it possible for you to speak up a little bit?
Okay, so can you hear me now?
That's a little better, thank you.
All right, sorry for that. So I would like to mention that we reduced the number and the value of some variances as a result of the planning department request based on our previous scheduled hearing on March 26th. So for variance number 1, the proposed east side setback for the front porch is 0.9 meters, while the permitted setback is 1.2 meters. Variance number 2, the proposed rear deck projection is 3.05 meter, while the permitted is 2.5 meter. The reason behind that is the deck height from the main floor. So we had to split the deck into 2 levels, and as a result, the stair connecting the upper landing and the lower deck is occupying some space. As a result, we increased the projection to create a usable area. For variance number 3, the proposed height is 8.98, while the permitted height is 8.5 meters. The variance is reduced from 9.18 meters. For variances number 4 and 5, the proposed east and west side setbacks are 0.9 meters, while the permitted setback is 1.2 meter. Actually, the setbacks of the existing house is 0.29 meter and 0.77 meter. And the both sides neighbors, the existing houses, the setbacks are 0.45 meters and 0.6 meters. So our proposed new setback is still more than the existing setbacks for the houses. For variance number 6, the proposed FSI is 0.695, while the permitted FSI is 0.6. We reduced this variance from 0.75 as a result of the planning department request to fit within the neighborhood character. For variance number 7, the proposed front yard landscaping is 72%, while the permitted landscaping is 75%. So we increased this one also from 70.19%. For variance number 2, under the old bylaw, the proposed proposed height is 9.31 meter, while the permitted is 8.5 meter, which is also reduced from the previous one, which was 9.41 meter. And also, we eliminated two other important variances, which are the lot coverage and the building length. So we believe that the requested variances are minor. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development of the building. The general intent and purpose of zoning bylaw and official plan are maintained. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir, I wanted to ask, did you have the opportunity to see how your design proposal fits in with the lease side residential guidelines?
You mean the city one or the association one? Because there is a letter of objection from the lease side resident associations. Which one you are referring to?
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. We have one person registered to speak on this item. That's Mr. Kettle. Are you there? Mr.
Muted.
Kettle, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Mr. Kettle, you have the opportunity to speak. You have 5 minutes.
Am I there now?
Yes, you're on now.
Okay, good. Yes, there were 4 letters of opposition here, plus the Leaside Resident Association from 79 Glenvale, 81 Glenvale, 82 Glenvale, 88 Glenvale. These persons all tried to participate this morning and were not able to. They missed the deadline, which, you know, people are not used to this kind of way of operating and having to get to a deadline 5 days before the hearing. And then they tried to get in this morning and they were not able. So there is a serious problem with access today. The Leaside Resident Association is opposed to this proposal because of its failure to follow the official plan requirements pertaining to character of residential neighborhoods and because of the excessive size of this proposal. It proposes to demolish the existing single-family 2-story masonry dwelling and construct a new, much wider, jumped-up dwelling that presents as 3 stories, not 2 stories, as per the bylaw, with a mansard roof almost flat and a double garage. It fails to follow the Leaside character preservation guidelines and fails to integrate with the vocabulary of the streetscape on Glenvale. It doesn't, the traditional character of traditional red brick homes with front stoops, steeply pitched hip roofs, and dorms. So in terms of the 4 tests under the Planning Act, this application is not minor. It's too large for the site. The cumulative effect of the building width, length, height of the sidewalls and coverage are excessive. It's not desirable for the appropriate development of the land. The vocabulary of the architecture are foreign to the homes on the street, does not maintain the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, does not maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan, which speak to character, the prevailing character of the neighborhood. So we recommend that the application be refused.
Okay,
The proposal
thank
is
you,
not in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaws or the official plan and does not meet the tests.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? Ms. Aderati?
Yes, through you, Master Chair. I just have a question. This application done by waivers, and we didn't get any variance for the 3rd story.
Mhm.
And if you can explain or give us some more information in that respect.
I can't respond to that. It presents as a 3-story home, which is not in character with the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, Mr. Ibrahim, you have the opportunity to address the concerns raised by the previous speaker.
Okay, so actually based on the zoning bylaw, our development is considered 2-story house, not a 3-story house. because the height, we meet the height of the main floor from the established grade. And regarding the mansard roof, we didn't exceed the flat roof requirement. So we are within the zoning bylaw as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? I noticed that there is an urban forestry standard condition recommended to be attached. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Hearing Mr. Cattell speak today, I do appreciate his concerns. I do only have one correspondence that is within my possession, and that's number 88. Did not receive the others, but that does talk to the urban forestry concerns. And seeing that, the applicant has worked with our city planning and looking at the application here today, I do believe that it actually meets the 4 tests. We can't talk to design. We can only talk to what's in front of us. So for that reason, I will put forward a motion to approve this application and make it subject to forestry. That's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much, sir. We're now on item number 2, 170 Bayview Heights Drive. I have just the applicant registered to speak. Sir, what you're asking for in your application, sir, is pretty straightforward. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or it would like a presentation. No? Okay, thank you very much. I noticed that there are no staff conditions that recommended to be attached to this application, so if I could get a motion. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Fung, can I get your name and address, please? Are you there? You are there. Mr. Fung? Has Mr. Fung disappeared? Should we hold this one down till...
Hello?
Mr. Fung, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sir,
Yes,
can I
I
get
am.
your name and address, please? Full name and
My name is
address?
Matthew Fung. My name is Matthew Fung. I live at 68 Maris Shepway.
We can't hear you, sir.
Agent for 17.
Sir, can I get your full name and address?
My name is Matthew Fung. Yep, my name is Matthew Fung.
Okay,
you hear me?
can I get your address?
My living address or my the project
Okay.
address?
All right, thank you. Okay. My apologies for the delay. Members, if I could get them, as I indicated, there's no one registered to speak on this item. It's pretty clear what the applicant is asking for. If I could get a motion on this application, please. Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as submitted.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Bartolo's motion? Ms. Adirati seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Fung, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
We're now on item number 340 Chatfield Drive.
Hi, good morning.
Yes,
It's Glenn Rubinoff.
Mr. Rubinoff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
Not too badly, thank you very much. It's very clear what you're asking for in the application, sir. We have no one registered to speak on the item. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or would like a presentation on the variance that you're requesting on building length. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions. Being none. If I could get a motion on this application, please? Ms.
Through
Adderati?
you- Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you, Ms. Adderati. Someone to second Ms. Adderati's motion? Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Rubinov, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. We're now on item number 4, 203 Epsom Downs Drive. And I have a Mr. Perez registered to speak. Mr. Perez, are you there?
Good morning.
Yes, hello, sir.
Morning, Chairman. I'm here.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 17th of March?
Yes, we have it, and we're okay
Yeah,
with it.
because they indicate they have no objection to your application, provided that the property is developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the committee and is attached as attachment 1 to the report. Okay, you're aware of that condition?
Yes, I am, and we're okay with it.
Okay, thank you. Again, sir, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the 5 variances before the committee. I'll just ask the committee. There is no one who has registered to speak on this item. Would the committee like a presentation, or does it have any questions related to the application? There being none, thank you. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Oh, Mr. Bartolo?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to the recommendation that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, and subject to the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Bartolo's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Perez, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
sir. Now on item number 5, 323 Empress Avenue. And I know that we have the agent registered to speak, no one else. Pardon me?
Hello, this is Mehran Haidari.
Oh, yeah, we have the agent registered. Oh, there is? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. You have some terrible feedback.
Okay,
though.
thank you. Mr. Hadari, are you there? You're the agent?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sir, can I get your name and address, please?
My name is Mehran Haidari. 506 1090 Gunmill
Sir, I
Road.
can't hear you. Mr. Hadari?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Mehran Haidari, 1019 Don Mills Road, Unit 506.
Sir, it's very difficult to make out what you're trying to say.
10090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506.
Sir, I can't hear you.
Sir, would you please turn down any other feedback that you have and only speak to one device in your home?
Yes, do you have a number of devices ongoing at the same time that are both giving out audio? Just speak through one device. Mr.
Can you
Hadari?
hear me now?
Yeah. No, I can't hear you.
So what about now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
That's better on
Mr.
my end. It's not great, but it's doable.
So right now it's okay?
Okay,
Okay
all
for
right.
me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, my name is Mehran Haidari, 506 1019 Don Mills Road.
Okay, Mr. Hadari, can you give us your Full name and address, please.
Mehran Haydari, Unit 506, 1090 Don Mills Road, North York, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, have you seen the city planning report of the 23rd of March?
Yes, I have. And,
So, so you're
actually,
aware that they had no objection to your proposal, provided that the proposals developed substantially in accordance with the east and west side elevation drawings that you submitted to the committee and that are attached as attachments 1 and 2 to their report. So you're aware of that condition?
I'm aware of that condition. Actually, we received a letter from the
Sir,
neighbor.
are you aware of the condition? Just yes or
I'm
no?
aware. Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'll just ask the committee, we do have one person registered to speak. Would the committee like a presentation, or does it have any questions?
I would
Ms.
like to
Adarati?
hear- Yes, I would like to hear what Mr. Haydari was trying to say.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gunab-
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hadari, you have the opportunity to address the committee and to tell us why you think we should approve your application. You have 5 minutes.
Yes, the application is a straightforward application based on the history of the Willowdale area, and all the variances is matched with the previous approved application. And the reason that I wanted to explain about tying the side elevations to the application as requested by the planning department is because we have an opposition letter from the neighbors, and the neighbors has problem with the setback. And actually I try to meet them and explain to them, and they are not happy or they are not opposing. So right now I want to figure out with them in the future, after I could opportunity to talk with them, to reduce, to increase the setback and change the length. So if you tie the side elevation to the application, I won't have any opportunity to change the drawing and respect the neighbor's concern. So my request is don't tie the side elevation, to have the opportunity to make the addressing the neighbor's concern.
My apologies. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to mention that if he wanted to change the design of the building to increase the length or exceed the side yard setback, then that will be another application. I mean, is he willing to increase the depth or length within the bylaw?
Yes, within the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Any, Ms. Sankar?
I do have a comment. So, I mean, you've requested of us to not tie it to the setback if there is an approval, and I'm not okay with not respecting the staff report in this case, and especially when we've received a letter from one of your side neighbors through correspondence explaining exactly what you've done. That is something that I feel you should have negotiated with your neighbors before coming here today, such that you're not, sort of tying our hands or forcing us to some sort of decision that allows you to make whatever, agreements you want to with the property owners on either side of you. If you would like to make any changes here today with the application in terms of the side yard setbacks and the length, you may do so now.
Actually, I tried to explain to them, and I did, and they were, and I'm waiting for them to let me know that they are okay with the request changes by them. And so I had the opportunity to talk with one of the neighbors actually, and the other one has my cell phone number, but he didn't call me. And so for this reason, I request to proceed the application without any change because, as I explained to them, so this is something, a small issue for me, and I want to respect them. So please proceed without any changes on the request of staff. So, and I'm okay with approving the application with condition of the tying the side elevation.
I also
Yeah.
have a comment here, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Adirati?
The reason staff would like to tie it to both side elevation is due to increased side exterior main wall height. So that's why they want to tie it so that it will explain it why this number is not exactly the number of the bylaw, and it will shows that it's due to the height of the rear bay window. So if you don't want to tie to it, then we might not be able to approve the variance number 2. And just a comment.
Thank you, Ms. Adirati. We have one person. Is there any further questions of the speaker? There is, pardon me, there is another person registered to speak. Mr. Azin, are you there? Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, just trying to get a hold of the deputant.
Mr. Chair, if he does not come online, he did send in a correspondence, and it's the last entry in the
Yeah,
application.
I'll just, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Gentlemen, any,
The issue currently is that the deputant has not registered in the WebEx with their name. We're currently trying to search for their phone number to allow them to speak. We currently do not know their phone number, so we're looking into that so that we can unmute the deputant.
so, would you like me to hold this for a few minutes, or would you like me to take a break? You will need a few minutes to find this gentleman. Your indulgence committee will take a 5-minute break so we can try and find our deputant. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience.
Good morning, Arash. Are you present? Is your audio working?
Can you hear me?
We can, yes. Thank you very much for your patience. So just please wait patiently while we wait for the members to return. Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, Ian Andres. Are you present and is your audio working?
I am here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for checking.
Good morning, Michael Wood. Are you present and is your audio working?
I think my audio.
Yes, it appears to be working.
me?
Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
We're back in session. Thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Is Mr. Azin there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Azin, we can hear you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yeah, it's Arash Azim, 321 Empress Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Now, you've heard the agent speak. You have the opportunity to make your views known, so you have 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, first of all, I'd just like to thank the chairman and the board members, committee members to allow me to speak. I had opportunity to review this application, and as I outlined in my letter, I am concerned about several of the amendments proposed, specifically to increase the west side yard setback towards my property and to increase the west side height elevation of the building and the overall elevation of the building as some serious concerns for me. Specifically, I'm concerned the fact that the west side setback encroaches towards my property. That side of the house is used by several children to access the building. And furthermore, I think there's a potential fire hazard having that house so close to ours, as our property additionally had a variance to have a setback increase on that side. So that really creates no space between the two homes. My greater concern, though, is really increasing the west side height elevation of the building. I have several children that have rooms on that side, and casting complete shade with the building 9 meters tall would mean that there would be complete shade at all times of the day in those rooms. As you know, this is a north-facing house, so the sun is for the most part purposely on that side of the building throughout most of the day. And I'm quite concerned that having a shady room throughout the day can really tremendously impact a child's development. So these are my great concerns. Furthermore, 325 Empress had come to my home today and written a letter, and I had emailed that as well. They had very similar concerns on the east side of the property. And speaking to Mr. I believe it was Mehrani's stating that he had come to speak with the neighbors, I would like to say that that was not the case last night. He had come over with 10 people. I have this on video camera. And spoke to one of the children in the home because I was not present at the time. In a time of pandemic, to have 10 people come over to someone's house and try to pressure a child into having me discuss things with them without any social distancing really raises concerns about the rationale of such decisions. And I'm quite concerned overall of the entire proposal.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, Mr. Hadari, you have the opportunity to address the concerns raised by the previous speaker.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Arash, for explaining. Actually, I stepped under your stair outside the building, and I didn't go close to your son. Actually, I don't know, are you talking about me or no, but I never go very close to
Sir,
your
can you
door,
speak
actually.
up, please?
I didn't knock the door. Okay, so actually, I would like to have with the neighbors and see their concern, because in my understanding and my experience, everything should be explained to them and make some changes based on the request. So for this reason, I believe if we have the opportunity to defer the application and have the meeting with the neighbors and go with the revised drawing based, if the neighbors wants to revise the drawing, I can explain to them. And after that, go to the committee adjustment again.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, thank you for all the speakers. I do believe that this is, even on paper, it doesn't look as complicated, but hearing from the neighbors, I do believe that there's a little bit more to this story and that something could be reconciled. And I'm very much in pro for mediation on this. So I think that I will motion to defer this application such, to give the neighbors and the applicant a chance to discuss and perhaps modify the application and return.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion from Ms. Sankar to defer the application for the purposes of discussions with the neighbor. Is someone prepared to support that motion? Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? Sir, your application has been deferred unto the next available meeting so that you can discuss the issues with your neighbor that you've heard in this forum today. So your application has been deferred. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Okay,
member of the
thank you.
committee.
Item number 6, 67 Sutherland Avenue.
Hello there, Trevor Wallace here on behalf of the owner as the applicant.
We have Mr. Wallace, who is the agent, and we have 4 deputants. So, Mr. Wallace, are you there? Can I get your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Trevor Wallace, and I'm speaking as the applicant on behalf of 67 Sutherland.
Okay, thank you. I noticed that we have there are no conditions recommended by staff on this application, but we do have a number of people who would like to speak on the item, so I think it would be appropriate if you gave us a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal vis-a-vis the official plan and the zoning bylaw.
Of course. Thank you very much, committee chair and committee. My name is Trevor Wallace, as I said, and first and foremost, I want to thank you for your flexibility to go digital in these challenging times. So we have 6 items on our list. The first one is pertaining to maximum building depth for detached house. We are asking for 21.81 in a permissible 19. I would like to note that the actual depth of the mass and volume above established grade is 18.7, so below, and we exceed the permissible depth because of a below grade access to the lower level. Item number 2 is setbacks. Obviously, this is something that we were aware of well in advance of the application, and we wanted to engage our neighbors. The neighbor to the east has written a letter of support of the application. The neighbor to the west, we engaged early on in dialogues. One of the requests was that we would reduce the setback to the existing chimney breast so the house would feel no wider than it is today. We were amenable to that and changed accordingly. Unfortunately, following that, the neighbor dropped off communications and we were unable to discuss any further, but based on the last email we received to him, as submitted as part of the committee application, we were under the impression that they supported the application, but clearly that's not the case, which is unfortunate. Item number 3, pertaining to lot coverage, we are asking for 41.1% of lot to be covered in a permissible 35%. Again, not including the window wells and the rear access to the lower level. That number is perceived as a building mass of 36.3%, so only 1.3% over. Item number 4, maximum height. The read of the drawings by the zoning examiner was that the height of the sidewall was 8.5 meters in a permissible 7. That is because the zoning examiner read the vertical soffit between the 2 peaks as part of the sidewall. The actual sidewalls in terms of built form reach up to 6.3 meters above established grade, which is below the permissible 7, and then both sidewalls at either property line switch into a sloped roof. Item number 5, the maximum floor space index permitted is 0.6. We are asking for 0.65, which is we believe to be a modest increase. Item number 6, the permissible building length is 17 meters and the proposed building length is 21.62. Again, the actual independent volume is above grade in terms of building mass is 18.5 plus the additional 3.12 for the below established grade access to the rear. As such, we believe that these variances are minor in nature. And when comparing the actual built form above grade to the variances, it's actually much less of an ask than what is reading on paper. Thank you very much.
Sir, can I ask, did you have regard for the lease side design guidelines when you were doing your design? And how does that fit into, how does your design fit into those guidelines?
We did review them. With regards to point 1, we believe we met the pedestrian realm notice. With regards to number 2, we've met 2 of the 3 requirements. With regards to item number 3, the height, we believe to be consistent with the neighborhood. The width obviously is a little bit wider because we're hoping to include a garage, which would remove obviously the automobile off of the front lawn in the existing location, which we believe actually supports further items identified in the pedestrian room number 1. And for number 4, we obviously have some more contemporary design elements. We don't have neat wood objects in the front of the house, but with regards to materials, we have addressed the design guidelines to be using both brick and wood as part of the building design aesthetic. And we also have a sloped roof as requested by the design aesthetic. So we have addressed them, we are aware of them, and we believe that we've been in sync with how they've been outlined within the document.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Adirati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask the agent architect to explain one more time if he modified anything regarding variance 2.
Yes, we did. The initial application, as showed to our neighbor to the west, showed a smaller setback than what is shown here now. I believe it was 0.7. The neighbor asked us to revise the location to increase the setback such that it is no different than what is there right now. And we went ahead and did that, obviously in good faith of the conversation and to ensure that there was positive and productive dialogue with the neighbors. And then also planning staff, when reviewing the application, asked us to increase the side yard setback on the east, and we went ahead and did that consistent with the requests.
So the numbers that is in front of us, the proposed east side yard setback is 0.8 meter is the final number, correct?
On the drawing, we're showing 0.74 to the west, and we are showing 0.76 to the east. It's our guess that the planner may have rounded up and down accordingly, but they are net the same number. Or gross, excuse me, the same number.
Thank you, thank you, sir. We'll now move to our deputants we have scheduled. I think the first one to speak is Sylvia Quant. Are you there, madam?
Mr. Chair, we only have Sylvia as listed as a WebEx participator, and at this time she is not connected to WebEx.
Okay, she's not available. We'll move to the next person on our list. Is Michael Wood there?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Wood, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Mr. Wood, you have, we've had a presentation, pardon me, from the agent. If you have the opportunity to make your views known, sir, if you'd like to go ahead, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you. I filed a notice of objection, which is available on the website. It contains a number of photographs, and I encourage all members of the committee to look at my objection, particularly look at the photographs. My conclusion is that the proposed development design, as shown in the photograph that I obtained from the website of the developer, shows a design which is radically different from all of the houses in the vicinity. I walked on Sutherland Drive from Bayview to Millwood Road, and I noticed that the prevailing architectural style of houses on the street is what is called the vernacular mixed style. That's the first photograph I have in my submission. It is a style very similar to a Tudor revival style. It contains gables, it contains a roof, a horizontal roof line, and windows that are all symmetrical in shape. Those are just a number of features. In my submission, I included a photograph of existing houses on Sutherland Drive. The first photograph shows the south side as it exists now, with the subject property undeveloped. The next photograph on page 3 of my submission shows the north side of Sutherland Drive, including my house, which is on the right, number 66, which is directly across the street from the proposed development at number 67. I then, under that photograph, show a photograph of the proposed development taken from the developer's website. It is radically different from the prevailing vernacular mixed style or the Tudor revival style. It is essentially two trapezoids put together. The windows on the second floor are trapezoidal in shape and not symmetrical. There is not a horizontal roof line shown. The movement in the picture shows that it's all upwards, which really does not fit in with the other style in the neighborhood where the movement is much more horizontal. On pages 5 and 6, I show the style of other houses in the neighborhood, the Tudor Revival style, the Georgian Revival style, the Cape Cod style, and the one exception is the modernist box style. I put that in because there is only one house on the street that is in that style. The applicant in his submission on the website says that an eclectic mix of styles in Leaside. Well, in our neighborhood, there is not. There is only one modernist box style, and the main point about that is that even that style, which is quite different from the Tudor Revival style, the vernacular, mixed vernacular style, even the modernist style is consistent with the 3 points that I mentioned in my submission. The rectangular shape of the front facade, the one line for the roof, and symmetrically shaped windows. So, in conclusion, the proposed development would offer a radically different style from the prevailing architectural style of houses in the neighborhood. Would greatly detract from the visual appeal of houses in the neighborhood. And I am primarily affected by this as I live right across the street from the proposed development. So I would, in conclusion, I would suggest that the developer amend the development to fit in with the prevailing architectural style as required by the official plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So if I could summarize then, one, your major issues are not with the variances per se, but with the design, the modern style design of the building. Would that be a safe way of summarizing your view?
Yes, I don't have any particular objection to the variances, but I have a major objection to the visual style.
The architectural style. It's very modern.
Yes, and it does not fit the neighborhood.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll just ask the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, thank you, Mr. Wood. Our next speaker is Mr. Kettle. Are you there, sir?
Yes, am I on?
Yes, Mr. Kettle, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Chair, there are 5 letters of opposition for this application. Excuse me. including one from the Leaside Residents Association, we would absolutely support the concerns raised by the previous deputant, who is a neighbor. All the other letters of opposition expressed similar concerns, including the metrics of the home, not just the character issues. And I'd like to quote from a letter from Mitch Buberly, who's across the road also. He says, my bit of Sutherland Drive still maintains the vernacular, which is late 30s mock Tudor and Georgian homes, modest, not massive, but modest, unassuming, where homes blend with one another in a holistic way. I'm objecting to the plan for the following reasons. The proposed architectural design does not speak to the prevailing vernacular, with no upper windows on the second floor facing the street, high side walls, white brick and metal finishes, and no stoop, which is common to traditional homes where folks can keep their eyes on the street. It contravenes the general intent of the official plan. It's meant to look like a jib and resembles an institutional bunker. Or the new home would take up 41% of the site. It's very, very rare in Leaside, and I've worked on this stuff for 10 years, to get a lot. That means that the building is taking up so much of the lot. Leaside homes, as I said, were modest, so then don't overwhelm or overburden the property. There has to be room for green space, for gardens, for lawns and trees. The project's inability to work with the surroundings. The architect's plan talks about not being hemmed in by tradition and states it fits into the neighborhood without depending on an historical vernacular. Everyone I talk to says there's no way the design fits in, but he's right when he said it does not depend on the historical vernacular. So we do submit, we do oppose, he opposes, and we agree with him that it's too big and it stands out. The idea of a house on a street is, it's not about the house, it's about the street. We're not trying to design a ship that everybody looks at as you walk by or drive by. We're trying to get something where the existing character is still there, and we want to maintain that character. And that is part of the official plan. It's not just whim, it's important. So we would, it is not minor, it's too large for the site. The cumulative effect of the building, the width, the depth, the length, the height of the side walls, and the coverage are excessive. It's not desirable for the appropriate development of the land. It fails to preserve the character of the street and the community. And it does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Thank you.
Thank you. We have just any questions of the speaker? No, thank you. We have one more person registered to speak, Mr. Titler. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. You have the opportunity to state your views. I'd emphasize, please don't repeat stuff we've already heard. We don't need to hear it again. We've already heard it loud and clear. So if you could tell us something we haven't already heard.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to address the committee. I certainly do have, I'm the property owner immediately to the west of 67 Sutherland. I'm at 65 Sutherland. I object to some of the comments made by Mr. Wallace because it was my impression from what he said that he was indicating to the committee that they had made accommodations to my request, where my understanding from discussions with the applicant is no accommodations had been made by them. The setback, the loss of setback that I'll be seeing on the west side when it was initially presented to me was that they wanted setback of 2 feet 5 inches, and it still remains 2 feet 5 inches. I want to draw your attention to the architect's drawing labeled A310 in the lower right-hand corner, which shows you the outline of the existing dwelling and superimposes on top of that the outline of the new building. And you can see that in terms of the setback, the chimney bump out is such a small proportion of the west wall that I do not see that as justification for moving the entire wall in my direction, particularly when it doesn't meet the zoning requirement of 2.1 meters. My other concern, in addition to that, is that the new dwelling, because of its irregular shape, thank you for bringing that up on the screen, is actually longer than the existing dwelling, is closer to the lot line. So I'm seeing a significant amount of massing toward the lot line that is going to create shadowing, and just the fact that while the city staff report said that, you know, it's the same length as my house, what the city staff report does not point out is that the addition at the back of my house is only a single story and it's further from the lot line than what the applicant is asking for. So I share the concerns of the other my neighbors, the seven of us who've objected, including the Residents Association, that the house doesn't fit into the neighborhood in terms of its style and design, but I have these additional concerns in terms of the massing of the property toward the lot line, and also that the shape of the roof is going to direct a considerable amount of stormwater in my direction. And I don't want to be subject to flooding in the event of a severe summer thunderstorm where we may get several inches of rain in the space of an hour or two. So yes, overall I have concerns about the design and the size of the building and its effect on my enjoyment of my house. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Thank you. We have no other speakers registered. Mr. Wallace, you have the opportunity to address the concerns raised by the previous speakers.
Hello there. The design obviously is a contemporary design, but I didn't hear any of the specific objections regarding the variances that were put forward to the committee here other than aesthetic ones. With regards to the last speaker's concerns, the property owner to the west, the initial one that was showed to him, and I'd have to pull it up in our file, did have a slightly reduced setback, and it was revised to the existing chimney breast with hopes that the owner could still maintain his use of the driveway, which is partially on the property of the owner at 67. And we obviously very carefully thought through the building volumes, making the deeper volume respectful to the site to the west, which already has, as the owner pointed out, a deeper volume than what we are proposing. We further acknowledge that the property to the west is the west and not to the south. In terms of shadow casting, ensured that this roof would allow for morning light to come over the slope roof, and ensure that the sidewall at that location in particular was lower than the permissible sidewall as per zoning bylaws. So we did address that in acknowledging the orientation of the massing and addressing to ensure that our massing was not as steep as the neighbor's massing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions of the speaker? There being none, can I, Ms. Sankar, would you like to make a motion?
No, I wanted to ask a question. With respect to the west side yard setback and the neighbor who just spoke, can you speak to that again? Because I think that this neighbor was saying that there was no agreement that was struck. I just want to understand what was that discussion on what the modifications were again, if you can explain that to me, because he doesn't seem to think that anything was done to assist his side of the property.
Right. So our recollection of the conversation was the initial plans that were presented to the neighbor had a setback that was less than what is shown now and was coming into his driveway or the use of his driveway on our property by an amount that was outside of the existing chimney breast. The conversation coming from that meeting in person at his house was that we would increase the side yard setback such that the side yard setback would be what it is at the chimney breast today and would be no less than his current access down the driveway. Additionally, I believe the correspondence with the neighbor summarizing what I'm talking about right now vis-a-vis email between ourselves and the neighbor talks to what I'm speaking about. And as I said, unfortunately, that's where the neighbor didn't continue the conversation in that location.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Sankar, did you get your question answered?
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Can I get a motion on this application, please?
Okay,
Sankar?
I'll go for a motion. You know, these things are really difficult because when you have so many people in opposition, you try to really hear things out, and you really do want to respect the neighborhood association as well. But in this case, we have jurisdiction only in terms of the variances that are in front of us. I get that design is extremely important, but that's not the parameter of our jurisdiction at this time. When we look at character of the neighborhood, we look at the build as well, right? Not so much the design. And in fact, he could have arrived at not even come to committee at all and built whatever he wanted in terms of design. So I can't comment on that, but I guess overall, in terms of me looking at this and knowing that he has worked with staff as well as trying to work with the neighbors, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Can I have someone do as Ms. Adarati second? Oh, Ms. Adarati? Ms. Adarati, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I would like to, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put a friendly amendment that we also tie it to north side elevation and site plan. I mean, the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and north side elevation drawing submitted to Committee of Adjustment. This is my friendly amendment.
Ms.
can
Sankar,
accept
are you
that
okay
amendment.
with that amendment? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, Treasurer, did you get that recommended amendment? Okay, thank you. All those in favor of the amended motion from Ms. Sankar? Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Bartolo dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved as amended, subject to the condition of building according to the plans.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, committee.
Thank you. Item number 739 Rowe Avenue. I have just one speaker registered for this item, and that is the agent, the applicant. Ms. Cowan, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, Ms. Cowan, it's just a moment. Let me just pull up your application here. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. It's relating, two variances relating to a deck in the rear yard. I'll just ask the committee if it has any questions or it would like a presentation. Okay, thank you. And there's no one registered to speak on this item. Can I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Adarati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you very much. Someone to second Ms. Adarati's motion. Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? Madam, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Item number 8, 123 Regina Avenue. And we have, let's see. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, I have no one registered for 123 Regina Avenue.
I'm here.
Oh, is that, I'm sorry, my mistake. Mr. Churchill?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Garfield Churchill, 97 Springdale Street, St. John's, Newfoundland.
Okay, thank you.
permanent address.
I just wanted to ask, do you have the opportunity to read the city planning report dated the 17th of March?
No, actually, I haven't.
Okay, they're indicating that they have no objection to your proposal, provided that the committee, if it decides to approve the application, that it be conditional upon the property developing substantially in accordance with the site plan and west side elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment as attachments 1 and 2 to the report, and that you provide permanent opaque screening or fencing along the east edge of the proposed rear deck with a minimum height of 1.5 meters from the floor. So those are their recommended conditions. Okay.
Okay, I have no problem with either of those.
Pardon me?
I agree with those conditions. I have no problem with them.
Okay,
We were
thank you.
probably going to do
Okay,
the
thank
screening
you.
anyway.
Thank you. I'll just ask the committee, does it have any questions or would it like a presentation? No, I note that we have no one registered to speak on this item. So if I could get a motion on the 7 variances that the applicant is requesting. Ms. Adirati?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I just have a quick question. I just would like to know regarding the variance number 5, how many percentage is actual dwellings lot covered, the lot coverage? Because we know that the platforms are all like it's over 5%, therefore it's added to coverage. We would like to know that how much is the actual buildings coverage?
Mr. Churchill, did you get the question from Ms. Adirati?
Yes. The issue here is that 2 of the decks that I have, the front and the rear deck, which normally would be decks, are considered part of the overall coverage of the house. So in one description, it's shown as being a deck with a roof on it, and in the other, it's considered to be part of the house construction. So it depends on how you interpret those decks. But the actual coverage minus the decks would be under the 30% if those 2 decks were considered part of the house. So it's just a splitting of hairs here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Did you get the answer you wanted, Ms. Adirati?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. If I could, as I indicated, we have no one registered to speak on this item. If I could get a motion on the application, please?
And
Ms. Adirati?
if there is a question from my colleague, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and west side elevation drawings submitted to Committee of Adjustment attachment 1 and 2 of the report. And also the applicant is to provide permanent opaque screening for fencing along the east edge of the proposed rear deck with a minimum height of 1.5 meter from the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Adirati. Can I have someone to second Ms. Adirati's motion? Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? Thank you. That motion carries. Mr. Churchill, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Item number 9, 12 Sandringham Drive, and we have one person registered on that application, and that is the applicant.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Mr. Dean, are you there?
It's actually Ian Andres, sir, from Goodman's. I'm the lawyer for the applicant and owner.
Thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name's Ian Andres, last name Andres. I'm with Goodman's LLP. I'm legal counsel to the owner of 12 Sandringham.
Okay,
the firm address if you'd like.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to know, have you had the opportunity to read the city planning report of the 22nd of May?
Yes, sir.
Because they indicate that they have no objections to your proposal, provided that if the committee approves it, you develop the property substantially in accordance with the site plan drawings submitted to the committee and attached as attachment number 1 to their report. And so you're aware of that condition.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, no issues at all with that condition.
Okay, thank you. I'll just ask the committee. Committee, we have no one registered to speak on this item. Would you like a presentation, or do you have any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Sorry, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and it will be subject to forestry.
And city planning?
Oh, and city planning, of course.
Thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Bartolo seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions.
Very well. Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Item number 10, 136 Rochester Avenue.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, Miss, we have an Elmira Zarabi to speak as the applicant, and there's also one person here who has registered as a deputant. So, is the applicant there?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
Yes,
hello.
this
If you
is
could- We're having trouble hearing you, madam.
Can you hear me though?
That's a little better. Yeah, it's a little tinny. Can you, okay. I'll just, if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. I just wanted to ask before you start, though, have you seen the city planning report of the 2nd of June?
Yes.
So you're aware that they have no objection to your proposal, provided that should the committee approve the application, that you develop the application substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall heights shown on the west and east side elevation drawings attached to their report? You're aware of that
Yes, we
condition?
accept that. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Madam, if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal?
This is Elmira Zarabi from EZ Architects located at 220 Duncan Mill Road, Unit 406. 5 minor variances requested to facilitate the construction of a new house. It's a very straightforward application, and we had a meeting on site with the Ratepayer Association with Representative Mr. Lutz, and general concern for the neighborhood of the surface water runoff were raised. As a result, I request a modification on variance number 2, east yard setback of 1.5 instead of 1.2 meter. I would like to draw your attention to page A1 of the package, the site plan drawing. Two-story building on the east is at 1.60 meter, and the neighbor on the west is at 1.22 meter from the property line. The existing building itself is at 0.38 and 0.74 from the sides. As reflected in the staff report, the proposed side yard setback of 1.2 meter is in keeping with the existing and new built in the neighborhood. Also, the proposed coverage is 2.3% less than the permitted coverage. Although the variance is minor and consistent with the other two-story houses in Lawrence Park, but in order to meet the concern and increase the soft landscaping area, we agree to increase the east yard setback if the panel accepts the modification today.
Okay.
We can also address other questions if the panel have any concern regarding the other variances.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll move to our deputants. We have a speaker registered, Lutz Fulgraf. Are you there? Lutz Fulgraf, are you there?
Hello?
Lutz Fulgraf, are you there?
Yes, I am. I could see you. I
thank
could
you.
hear you.
Yes, hello, sir. You have the floor. You can give us what you see as your views on the project.
Yes, thank you. By way of introduction, I'm heading in the development committee for the Lawrence Park
Can we get your
Ratepayers
sir? Can we get your
Association.
full name and address?
Sure. My name is Lutz, L-U-T-Z, Fulgraf, F-U-L-L-G-R-A-F. I'm speaking for the Lawrence Park Ratepayers Association, and their address is 3219 Yonge Street, Toronto, Ontario, M4N3S1.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. As Almira stated, we had a meeting yesterday at the lot. I very much appreciate that she made the time available, so did the owner. And we were able to reach a compromise by the plan reduction on the, Almira, help me, I think it's the south side. It'll be increased from the planned 1.2 meter to 1.5 meter. And with that, I would withdraw the objections that I have raised in my letter of objection. If that becomes part of the approval of the COA, then the Lawrence Park Ratepayers Association is okay with it. Our main concern was that with the reduction of the side yards, we would create a water hazard in an area where flooding has been a problem and where the city does not have put any storm sewage into the roads so that the water cannot escape from there, and it will cause problems not only on the lot and on the neighbors' lots, but because the street is sloped to the east.
Sir, before you proceed further, you need to know that the city doesn't, the committee doesn't deal with drainage issues. The applicant will be required to submit a lot grading plan as a condition of getting his building permit, and that lot grading plan has to show how he's handles the storm water that is generated by his property, and it has to be dealt with on his own property. So you can make those comments if you'd like, but they have no impact on our decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I am, as a representative of the neighborhood, I, of course, would like to make those comments on behalf of the neighborhood, not just the immediate neighbors. And because any water that might come from that lot with the new building will impact the neighbors that live further down the slope towards Bayview. Anyway, I've said this before, that we've met with Almira and the owner, and that we have agreed that with the reduced plan and the increased eastern side, we are okay with it, and then I would withdraw my objections.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, does the applicant
Mr. Chair.
The applicant has the opportunity to, do you want to address the comments made by the previous speaker? They sound favorable.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Giuseppe would like to ask the ratepayer a question.
No, you can't do that, sir. You address your comments to the committee. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bartolo. I'm sorry. My apologies.
It's okay. No worries, no worries. I just wanted confirmation on which, it's the east or west that's being increased to 1.5 meters.
It's the east side that is increased to 1.5.
Okay, and assuming, and then my question for the applicant is just to confirm that this is amenable to them and that they accept this.
Sir, did you hear Mr. Bartolo's question?
I did, but the question's not directed to me.
Mr. Bartolo, would you like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that question?
No, so I have my answer on the east side. The proposed amendment from the Ratepayers Association is to increase the east setback to 1.5 meters. I understand that. I just want to confirm from the applicant that that this is agreed upon and they're proposing this amendment before us here.
Did you get that?
Yes,
Did
that's-
you understand that, Mr. Zarabi?
Yes, that's what we agreed on.
Okay, no problem. That's all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Again, there's no one else registered to speak. If I could get a motion on this application, please. Mr. Bartolo?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I will put forward a motion to approve this application with the amendment to variance number 3, changing the proposed east yard setback to 1.5 meters, and that this project be developed substantially in accordance with the exterior main wall heights as shown on the east and west sides attached with the report.
Okay, thank you. As someone to, and there's
And
urban,
they-
And further on that, this application be subject to the conditions in the urban forestry memo from June 16, 2020.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bartolo. Someone to second Mr. Bartolo's applicant. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved with variance number 3 changed with the, just a moment here. With variance number 3, the revised to read, the proposed east side yard setback is 1.5 meters. And your application is subject to city planning and urban forestry conditions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our morning session completed. We are adjourned till 1 o'clock. Committee, thank you very much. We'll see you at 1.
This guy. I know. Did you, let me guess, did you close it? Did you say we're here? Oh, wow. Something a little more professional than we'll be back. But we'll be back. Yeah. Description proposal. That's it.
Well, gents, it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me